This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Good afternoon, my Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for August 2, 2023. And in the news this afternoon, alleged murderer found fit to plead. A man accused of stabbing another to death on Bevin Avenue in Montego Bay in March of this year is fit to enter a plea, according to a court-ordered psychiatric evaluation report. Delmar Elson, 34, is charged with a murder in connection with the death of 29-year-old Romaine Legister, who is also from Montego Bay, St. James. Elson is represented by attorney-at-law Jermaine Campbell. The clerk of court objected to bail when the case was heard in the St. James Parish Court on Monday, citing Elson's violent nature. The clerk also pointed to Elson's previous conviction, for which he received a one-year suspended sentence, adding that he committed the latest offense while his suspended sentence was active. He also told the court that the post-mortem report and the statement from the Justice of the Peace were still outstanding. The judge then told Campbell that she would not be able to make a decision on bail until she had the opportunity to review the file. She also stated that the Crown was mindful of Elson's propensity for violence. Campbell, who had argued that his client acted in self-defense, was robust in his argument about the Crown's slow pace of providing the documents required to proceed. He pointed out that his client had been in custody since March and the matter was brought before the court 2 months later. The officer would have had 2 months before the matter even came to court to prepare even the JP statement for the caution. When the file came, only the caution statement came in, and it was thereafter all these other things are chipping in, said Campbell. We cannot say that because we have been before the court before and we have suspended sentence hanging over our heads that we should not defend ourselves, Campbell added. The defense counsel also requested that a medical certificate be provided as his client had been injured and taken to the hospital by the police. The judge then scheduled the case for mention on August 30, at which time Elson will learn whether he is eligible for bail. He was remanded in police custody. It was reported that around 7 a.m. on March 17, both men had a disagreement. The police said during a dispute, a pair of scissors was used to stab Legister in the chest. Legister was assisted by residents to the Cornwall Regional Hospital, where he died while being treated. Outstanding documents holding up double murder case. A number of outstanding documents are holding up the prosecution's case against Nitson Reed, who is accused of double homicide and injuring another man in Roehampton, St. James on May 31. The deceased men have been identified as 23-year-old farmer Liston Blacks Anderson and 20-year-old Tavar Ravers Doman. When the case was heard in the St. James Parish Court on Monday, the court was told that the post-mortem report, the initial investigating officer's statement, the ballistic certificate, the scene of crime statement, and other documents related to the case were outstanding. With the unavailability of these items, presiding Judge Sasha Marie Smith Ashley said she could not set a hearing date. She then asked the clerk of court if he had any request, and he asked for an extension of time to have the file updated. Smith Ashley went on to say that she had the opportunity to peruse the file and that defense attorney Michael Hemmings had raised some concerns about weaknesses, particularly with the identification. Having looked at it, I do not agree that the case against you is tenuous, the judge told Reed. When I look at that and all of the other things that I have to consider, I do not believe you are a suitable candidate for bail, Smith Ashley added, before remanding him in custody until September 26. The allegations are that on May 31, about 10:30 p.m., Anderson and another man were at Doman's house at 4 Roads in Roehampton, St. James, when a gunman entered the house and opened fire. Anderson and Doman were shot and killed, while the other man, who was also shot, managed to flee the house. The police were summoned, and when they arrived, they found Doman's body under a bed with a gunshot wound to a section of his body. Anderson's body was on the floor in a back room. There were several gunshot wounds to his chest and head. Following investigations, Reed was arrested and charged. Trial venue to be decided in Buggery case. A committal hearing has been set for August 9 for Anthony Grant, who is charged with buggering a 12-year-old girl in a banana field. The hearing is to determine if the case will be transferred from the parish court to the circuit court. The date was set on Monday, when the matter was called up in the St. James Parish Court before Judge Sasha Marie Smith Ashley. Grant, 21, is charged alongside Marlon Reed, 19, who was not in court on Monday. The presiding judge issued a warrant for Reed but stayed the execution until August 9. Grant's bail was extended. According to the police, 2 girls aged 12 were walking along the Plantation Heights Main Road on February 21 when Grant and Reed rode up on a motorcycle and started a conversation with them. It is alleged that during the conversation, Grant pulled one of the girls into a nearby banana field while Reed held onto the other and threatened to shoot her if she called for help. The complainant asked Grant to let her go, but he lifted her up and took her to a nearby banana field away from the main road. The complainant called out for help to Reed and her friend, who were in the banana field at the time, but Reed did not assist. Grant allegedly undressed the girl and sexually assaulted her. A report was made to the police and both men were arrested during an operation on March 16 and subsequently charged. Grant is represented by attorney at law Albert Morgan, while attorney Henry McCurdy represents Reed. Factory workers melt under sweltering heat. Record-breaking temperatures are being felt by warehouse and factory workers with little or no cooling units. The world recorded its hottest day ever on July 3rd, a record then beaten on July 4, 5, and 6, with average temperatures going up to 17.23 degrees Celsius. According to scientists, July was on track to be the world's hottest month on record. While extreme temperatures are being felt globally, warehouse and factory workers in Jamaica have had to ensure the effects of climbing temperatures while working indoors in concrete structures. "The simplest task being done, you're sweating for it," said one factory worker who requested that his identity and the place of employment be concealed. He works on average 8 hours and acknowledges the afternoon shift is the most heated. "Every day is hot, every day just hot. Only time it cool is in the early morning, then it takes time to get hot, then the night shift is cool down, but every day hot and fan basically just blow back the hot air on you," he added. His condition is exacerbated by the lack of adequate ventilation available to him. "Not where I am. Windows far from where I am," he shared with the news. He had been working in factories for almost 10 years, and he said almost all the factories he worked at are the same, except one they had air conditioning because their machines needed air conditioning. According to him, no one really checks on the conditions of the workers. They do audit, but mostly safety audit, he said, adding that concerns have been brought to his supervisor. However, he says even his supervisor suffers from having no AC in his office while working under the heat. Luckily, the warehouse he works at doesn't require mask wearing. But for another worker in a warehouse who spoke with the news and also requested his identity and the place of employment be concealed, he said his working condition is slightly different. "Some place in the factory is kind of dusty, so we have to wear masks and protective gear, which also feel like an extra burden in the heat," the warehouse employee explained. "We have to rush to go to the fan. The workplace is hot." He has been working in factories for over 14 years. While he shares the sentiment that the factories are similar in build, he says some employers do try to help their employees when it gets extremely hot. "They provide a good amount of fan just the other day, cause them know about the heat, so them try to help out. They're trying," he said about his current employer. Luckily for him, his new place of employment has more ventilation with adequate windows and an open factory space. He notes, however, that it is not the same at other factories, including one in which he previously worked. "My previous workplace was owned by the Chinese them, and you couldn't talk to them because they were all about the dollar. It's basically just work, and they pressure us. It's hot because it's a warehouse, and most don't come with AC. If the roof doesn't come with something to protect the zinc, because that's where the heat come down, it is stored in the air. And if it doesn't have that, it's going to be a lot of heat that you have to deal with," he shared. Though fans are provided, he still thinks factories could do more given the global conditions. "More coolers can be put in the factories to keep us cool and more ventilation," he said. President of the National Workers Union, Granville Valentine, says that the concern about heat in factories has been ongoing for years. You would believe they would invest in some AC or cooling condition so that the workers can be comfortable. It is something that is the closest to the sweatshop that is spoken of in the past, and it is not conducive to good health and working conditions, he told the news. According to Valentine, there are standards in place that ensures a safe and healthy workplace, but when conditions are so hot that workers begin to faint or have any other kinds of ailment due to heat stress, then factory owners must look at those conditions. He also appealed to the Ministry of Labor and Social Security to check how factories are made alongside the temperatures that exist, as well as a frequent test of heat and dust. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.